So next, I would like to quickly switch to Mrs. Temitope Okono. So she's going to be sharing with us on some practical insights into growing your own food at home. Simple guidelines for young people in attendance today. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon, this morning, this evening, wherever it is that we're from, Mrs. Okono. Thank you so much. My question to you is, what spurred your interest in homegrown fruits and vegetables, and what are some of the benefits? Also, for those of us who might not even be interested in subsistence farming, kindly share with us some of the ideas and steps that we can take to get started.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very delighted to be here. Happy International Day to everyone present. Yes, what spurred my interest in homegrown fruits and vegetables? It was my passion for sustainable environment in Nigeria. There was also that need to be careful on how we grow our food, particularly the heavy use of synthetic pesticides and fertilizers in agricultural activities, as we know that they emit very harmful chemicals into air and water, causing pollution. In 2006, I realized very early that we are in a climate crisis and people couldn't relate to it as a people and health crisis. Air pollution, which is closely linked to climate change, is a major threat to the health of our planet and all biodiversity. So the rising CO2 and other air pollutants from these chemicals, burning of waste and fossil fuels, such as coal and oil to produce energy and electricity for transportation, they gradually increase the level of the greenhouse effect, which in turn raises both maximum and minimum temperature and affects our global weather patterns. Emissions from these pollutants, particularly from carbon monoxide, and inhaling it reduces the Earth's ability, our heart's ability to pump enough oxygen, causing us to suffer respiratory illnesses, irritation of the eyes and throat, of which I am a survivor, breathing issues, liver issues, breakdown of reproductive functions and impairment of immune and nervous systems. All of this left me worried about my health and of course my family's health, my neighbors, and then the next generation. So I decided I was going to solve the problem. I didn't know how, but I knew that with enough hard work, research, and collaboration, asking of questions, I would be able to solve this problem. So the problem became a burden, and I needed a solution very fast. The cheapest then was to mitigate climate change through tree planting, so which I did in extension, by extension, planting plants as well, because they are great carbon sinks. And this means that they would help to sequester carbon in the environment or from the environment where they are planted. So my NGO, FABE International Foundation, started planting indigenous trees that would help with our immune systems, trees that when you eat both the fruits, the plants itself, the leaves or the bark, it would bring health to our system. I later found my present law, which is to grow homegrown food and vegetables right in front of my home. So I have like a tripartite solution to the climate crisis. I secure my environment with cleaner air, eat fresh fruits, natural fruits, vegetables, different crops from my garden. And I treat myself of any kind of ailment or illnesses from this garden, right from the comfort of my home, using the food that I grow with lesser waste. So these are the series of things that happened and, got me always wanting to find out more and more about how we can actually spur the interest of young people, aside myself or my family or my close neighbor, to growing vegetables or foods or anything at all that they so desire to eat. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so much, Ma'am. But I have a follow-up question to all that you've shared. I know very well your organization has the Echo Schools and NG, where you educate and sensitize pupils in primary and even secondary schools on how we can go about subsistence farming starting from the school to be able to be replicated at home. And so I'm just really curious, how do you think this can be done, to create a new paradigm in the minds of young people, using the Eco School as a case study now? How can we replicate what you do in the schools in our various homes?
Okay, so the Eco Schools project is a very dear one. We started about 4 or 5 years ago, and presently we are in about 35 schools in Lagos State. And it has been really challenging, especially because they are public schools and compared to private schools, but how have I been able to support their interests? How have I been able to change that, mindset of theirs? First and foremost, I made them realize that there is a climate crisis, like I said earlier, and it is in their hands for them to do something about it right now. I asked several questions about the food that they eat. Are they happy to eat that kind of food, knowing that carbide is being poured on some of our fruits that are supposed to be giving us good, good health, but then causes more ill health, so we will talk about this. Then I'm like, oh yes, we need to change. So how can we change? What can we do? Should we leave it to our, to the grown-ups to keep doing what they do? Or can we come up with innovative ideas on how to grow our own food and change the narrative? So we now find students choosing courses in agricultural science, which, like our first speaker said, it was actually not portrayed to us as a very good or lucrative or mind-blowing kind of work we want to do in the 21st century. But we were able to change that narrative. You don't see the farm as that very archaic expanse of land. You start seeing beauty because we try to combine what we call upcycling with growing of food. So we started combining upcycling, and upcycling is just the creative reuse of waste materials into functional products of high environmental value. I'd like to share my slide here, if you permit me, at this time, so you can just see what I'm trying to say. These are the things that the students saw and were so excited, like, oh, you mean I can turn tires into planters? I'd like to share my slide. Let me just do this. Things like this. So when the students and I start collecting tires, for example, and they're wondering, oh, what are we going to use the tires for? We said, and then I would answer, my team and I would answer, oh, we're going to be growing some very short-rooted herbs here, or some very short-rooted veggies here. And they're like, how is that going to happen? It spurred their inquisitiveness. They don't understand how tires could be turned into beautiful things like this until we were able to do it ourselves. So we replicated this in schools, and one of the criteria was to also make sure that the students replicate this in their homes. And Nigeria, Lagos in particular, we have a lot of people driving cars, and sometimes when your tires are being changed, they're just left on the main road. So the tires cause a lot of nuisance on the main road, and nobody picks them up. Although recently things are changing, because when people start saying things that we do with tires, people now sell their tires based on this innovation that we have brought to the schools. So many of the schools that we started at the beginning with the Eco Schools project, who usually would collect their tires free on the main road or on the streets of Lagos State, now started facing challenges of people selling tires to them for as much as 1,000 naira and 500 naira. And then we're looking at, we're not so sure if tires are going to be available for free again in the next 2-3 years. People have started adopting things like this in their homes, in their shops, in their offices. And the next slide shows how you can also use plastics. So your regular PET bottles that, we drink water from, many people would drink water from these PET bottles and throw them on the streets while they're moving their cars or somewhat. But we have innovatively, created beautiful planters from different kinds of bottles, plastics, basically. In my top left corner, you'll see a number of about 6 bottles of groundnut oil that has been upcycled to produce coriander and lettuce. And on my far right, as I write, you would see pak choy, you will see pepper, green pepper, and beetroots. So all of these, again, students would ask you, okay, but I thought we can't grow lettuce in Nigeria, we can't grow pak choy, we can't grow green pepper, we can't grow beetroots, we can't grow so many veggies they would love to eat as they see their, their counterparts, in the other world eating this kind of veggies, and they would love to eat these veggies, but they cannot find them. And even if you find them, there's a lot of story, surrounding that. So we were able to grow all of this together, and that really got them inspired that, oh, really, I can grow cabbage. I can grow all of these things. And the most interesting part is that I can even grow them in free planters. So we would creatively create these planters together and grow beautiful veggies, herbs, and crops. The next slide shows the possibility of growing food in sacks. So some of these sacks, majorly from our foodstuff, rice, gari, and beans. Most of these sacks have been thrown away after use. Some of them are the cement bags. They are thoroughly washed, sun-dried, cleaned before use. And then we have used them to grow our pawpaw, as you can see in the video, in the slide. We have used them to grow kale. Kale was also something very exciting for the student because they didn't believe that we could grow kale in Nigeria. We needed to start introducing them to all of those seeds that they would love to eat, that are very good for the immune system as well. And the fact that most of the things we introduce to them are things, leaves, fruits, veggies that can be used as both fertilizers and pesticides. So we grow a lot of pawpaws in the school because we know the end use of pawpaw. Pawpaw skin, pawpaw seed, pawpaw flesh, everything, the tree barks, everything with the pawpaw plant is useful. So we use the pawpaw plant and with other ingredients in the garden as our pesticide. So we don't usually rely on synthetic chemicals to grow our food. So the children are eating fruits, veggies, and crops that are original, that are clean, that are nutritious, without chemicals, and they just love it. So from the garden, you can pick one and just put it in your mouth because you trust where your food is from. And then the other slide, we actually focused more attention with PET bottles because we have a problem of plastics all over the world. And we see a lot of our partners recycling PET bottles and exporting But we for children or for students or for the youths who have not left school, they can learn upcycling and see the possibility of growing their food like this, especially the ones that you can grow at home. So this is my house. I have this one here in my house. So I show them the possibility that you can grow this in your house. You can grow it anywhere using your PET bottles. If you do not have space, you can grow on your wall. So this is just showing you that you don't have space, but you can grow on your wall using PET bottles. All you need to do is get your compost and your soil, make sure that it is well amended, get the right seeds, and grow your food. And when we talk about the soil as well, okay, before I get that, this is another way you can grow your food: by your balcony, on your pavements, using, the cement blocks. So here, we also showed them different things from the Doritos packs to, I don't know if you can, some of the adults here can remember this, this container at the bottom. We call it abogana in Yoruba. That's the bucket or the bowl from Ghana. It's a very, 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 very old container that is being used to, it's the brides in Nigeria way back usually take this to their husband's home. And nowadays, people don't use it anymore because we have very modern bowls that you give your bride, when she's going home. So, somebody decided that, okay, all these bowls and containers, I don't need them in the house. Look at your far left. I mean, you would see a mopping stick container as well. There is actually nothing you can't plant. So we also instill this awareness in the youths. So for those who are having troubles getting plastic, so you can have some things in the house that are not useful, you can actually also plant in them. From garlic to lettuce to ginger to cabbage to kale and all sorts. And then there is another thing that we teach the students in schools and the youths. There is a scarcity of soil, of good soil at the moment in Lagos, which I have observed and some other colleagues of mine. We cannot find rich, dark soil anymore. I have to travel long distances, which is this is something I do not like to do, because I believe, you spend a lot of time in traffic, you release a lot of fuel and all of those things. But then I need to travel very far to get my soil if I'm going to eat good food. So we decided to teach them composting. Composting is just a way of gathering all your kitchen waste together in a process. And then all of those kitchen waste, like you can see here, you have the banana peels, you have the eggshells, we have the yam peels, carrot peels, pineapple. All of these come together in a process and they all turn into a soil. Compost is what the farmers call the organic rich soil. It's called the black gold. With your compost added to any soil, it would be greatly amended. We also show them the possibility of growing trees at home. That is a jackfruit there. That is a pineapple tree. Pineapple, that is banana, plantain. All of these can be grown in tiers at home. I mean, with the picture you're seeing right now, you see students with different veggies, from carrots to cucumber to okra. There are so many, so they get so excited when they see this, and then we do it together. They go home, they practice it.
Awesome.
They come back, and then they show us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ma. I think you've made the work and the lesson for today very easy, because I'm already seeing a lot of economic opportunities from all that you've shared so far. But I would just like to quickly key into what you said last about working together, and would particularly like to ask what your advice is to every young person watching and listening to you right now and want to venture into any of this agricultural food chain. What would your advice be to them?
Okay, so for me, when I started growing my own food, I wasn't thinking about, the financial empowerment. I just wanted to eat good meals. And the fact that all I eat outside was really affecting me. I was having allergies almost every time I eat fruits or my seafood. So it was born out of the passion to grow my own food myself. I want to know where my food comes from. But then while I was doing this, I saw the business opportunities. It was not just one, it was not two, it was not just three. And particularly last year, I made friends with a lot of people on my street whom I usually don't talk to, but we made friends because of what I do, gardening, growing my own food. We were able to share recipes of different herbs and veggies and all of that. And then I realized that, there's so many people looking for natural ways to solve very, very difficult problems that they are facing. So there was a diabetic patient who I have been giving produce from my garden at home. And she just told me recently that there was a change, because of our diet. And her doctor actually advised her that where she is currently buying her veggies, she should continue to buy her veggies. But hey, she wasn't buying from me at the time. She was just collecting from my garden. So immediately she said, her doctor told her that where you are buying from, you need to continue to buy from there. And I decided, okay, now let's start selling. So I started selling everything. from my seeds. So another thing that the youth should know is that, so when you have the money to grow your food, maybe through loan or grant or anything, there is a possibility of harvesting your seeds from your original, from the first set of farm produce, more like teaching them sustainability. So we give you sets of seeds this year. We do not expect that next year you collect the same set of seeds from us, because we expect that you are able to collect seeds from the ones that you have harvested or the ones that are remaining in your farm. So you can sell your seeds, you can sell your produce, you can sell your organic pesticide from your garden, you can sell your organic fertilizer. You can, look at, for example, in fact, the easiest one I will tell you today is your eggshell. As useless as the eggshell is, it is money. Eggshells, when grounded, is used as fertilizers or soil supplement for your tomato, for example. It's filled with calcium. Right now, I have a snail farm in my garden. I've always wanted to have that. I tried it once, it didn't work, but now I have it. Snail feed on this. Snail feed on your pawpaw leaves, watermelon. So this is another area where, and I like, somebody mentioned earlier when I was listening, agriculture is all about tilling the ground. There's so many opportunities. Somebody right now has taken clue from the eggshell that I taught them, a teacher. And
yes, absolutely.
What she does now is to collect eggshells and grind and sell. So you have so many opportunities, from growing the tree seedlings as well to sell, from even growing people's gardens. So I started growing people's gardens. People would call me, a doctor. Yes, please. We have to go now. Thank you.
Yes, I would have to, but definitely so much to take away from this session. And I'm sure the other speakers would really help us to explore more of the economic and even subsistence opportunity from all that you've shared so far. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We can't thank you enough for all the amazing insights you've shared so far. Thank you so much, Mara.